I'm Pastor Vincent Campbell, and this is my honor moment. Many times it's often said that it takes a village to raise a child. It means a community of people pouring into one person to get them to their successful place. As a young pastor, there are many people that have poured into my life, and I just want to take just a few moments to honor them. First, I have to start with my first pastor, which is my dad, Elder Earl Campbell. I'm just a chip off the original block. Extremely a man of faith. The miraculous has happened through him. Even through my first day of being a minister, I called my dad and said, "Dad, something amazing happened." He says, "I know." I said, "What do you mean you know?" He said, "You accepted your call." I said, "Yeah, how did you know that?" He said, "Before you were born, I dedicated you to God." And just because of his life and all that he does, even with me starting to become a pastor, he's been right there. Such a great man of God. Bishop Willie Matthews, awesome. Beyond his time, I learned from him the grace for ministry and also the care of God's people. When my mother took me to church for the first time, he pulled the blanket back and told her, "Hey, you got you a preacher there." His word has proved strong to this point. Next, I move and I come to Georgia, and just a radical experience of a pastor with Rucker. Call him the Triple R. I've never seen a pastor like this where people park across the street to go to his church. But he was an entrepreneur. He was a businessman. So I got to see my first taste of a pastor being a businessman, being successful with the Georgia State Patrol and also his funeral home business and all the things that he did while I was in college to make sure that the things were taken care of for my dorm and just making sure I had food to eat. I'll never ever forget Bishop Rucker. From him, I learned style. From him, I learned business. From him, I learned control. I move now, and my father-in-law comes into my life, and I walk into a packed convention, and Dr. Harry Johnson of Solid Rock Church of God by Faith, his voice commands attention and just his excellence for everything. He gave me a valuable lesson when I started my church. He said, "Son, people are going to judge you by the first thing that they see. Make sure it's excellent." So from him, I gained just the excellence factor. Move on now, and Bishop Quincy LaVille Carswell. Now you talking about a serious preacher. I mean, can hoop with the hoopers. But from him, he's just so radical. Just so radical. I've seen him baptize people after church in his full suit. I mean, wouldn't even take his jacket off. Just radical. And then also to give it everything you got. I mean, when he preaches like it's his last time. When I started the church, he would come by and check on the progress and see the things where we were building out. Take the time to be able to encourage me along the way. And some of the things that I do now is a direct result of the radicalness that I got from him. Then I get to Pastor Kenneth Payton, Living Word Church of God in Christ. What an awesome man of God, and always prepared, always prepared. He taught me, always be prepared. You never know when you have to minister. Always be prepared. So that's when I got into intense study and preparation. But one of the greatest things that I learned from him is my personal and private praise life. I didn't know what it was like to praise privately, and I saw him because he was a praiser and a worshiper, and I developed my personal praise life. And then I get to Bishop I.V Hilliard, my now pastor, my blueprint, my mentor, my man of God. I never thought that I would end up in Houston, Texas with Bishop I.V Hilliard. But when I tell you that God's plan is so perfect, from him, faith, from him, family. His focus on family is so important. How he's teaching me many things, but some of the first things, the lessons that's pointed out and stood out was the balance of ministry and family. How he adores his family and his wife, and makes sure that he never puts his family on the back burner for the focus of ministry. Rucker says it best: give a man his flowers while he's yet alive. And to all of you, this is my salute. This is my honor to you. I mean, it's imperative as a young man, as I move forward and as we always think about the next thing. You can't get to where you're going if you don't recognize and reverence where you've come from. You are all a part of the bridge that brought me to where I am. And I pray that you're proud of what you poured into my life. This is my time to honor you. Pastor Vincent Campbell of the Faith Center, to each of you.